Hey, it's Dr. Charles, aka CoachMD, coming to you live this morning. Wishing you a bright morning in my morning drive. And as some of you may know, I am a medical doctor. I had been a medical doctor in clinical practice for over 30 years, and recently I retired from that medical practice. But of course, as you can see, I do stay busy. Have a lot of things on my plate, which I fully enjoy, and I like sharing with you my thoughts and my ideas, and hopefully you find them valuable, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to what I have to say. Yes, I am driving. My eyes are on the road. I will look occasionally to the camera, but I want to drive safely, so a lot of times I will not do that. But anyway, what I'd like to talk to you today about is hope, faith, and love. And as you might know from some of my posts, not all of my posts, but some of my posts, I talk about having a belief and a faith in something greater than ourselves. And I feel that that is necessary to have and to hold a sense of hope. Now, there are many people, some very close to me, some who I love very deeply, who feel that having some type of faith in something greater than ourselves, in something greater than our five senses, is somehow magical and whimsical, and somehow isn't consistent with science. Well, I'm not going to try to give a proof or some type of discussion right now about why I believe in what I label God. That's not what I would like to talk to you today about. But let's just understand that there are some very intelligent people, so-called intelligent people, who do believe in something greater than themselves. And what I'd like to talk to you today about is, in addition to these concepts, is why I feel how important that is. And arguably, I'm educated. I know many people also are educated, but that doesn't mean that that my opinion is somehow more valuable than yours if you're not educated. It just means that those who argue that they believe in science and not something greater than their five senses, it doesn't mean that their arguments are any better than mine or yours. And so getting back to hope, faith, and love, in order to have hope, it's very important to be able to reach above our circumstances. And sometimes our circumstances are of our own creation, and sometimes our circumstances are just we're born with. Whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, we're just born with those circumstances. In order to have hope, it is my feeling that we must believe in something that is outside of our circumstances, even outside of this earth, if you will, supernatural. And when I say supernatural, it means above the natural world. It means above or in the natural, which is how we see the world given our five senses. And from a very early age on, I have questioned the idea of infinity. And I was a math major in college, so that was a very interesting concept, infinity. Really, infinity, we can't explain. We can't explain that in the regular sense. Science can. We've tried, but we can't understand infinity. So there's something that's larger out there, and that feeling I have, and that feeling and that belief that I have, is that is what I call God. Now, there are people who are listening to this who have different concepts or different beliefs in God, You may be of the Muslim faith or Islam. You may be Islam of the Muslim faith. You may be Jewish, the Jewish faith. You may be Christian. You may be Hindu. You may be Sikh. You may have another belief system. And that belief system has given you a construct in order to connect with something much larger than yourself. And that is what I call God. I was raised in the Jewish faith, so my belief system was of a monotheistic God, which is a God of that, in fact, the Jewish people were among arguably the first. There are some others in history who conceived of a monotheistic creator. And so that my concept of that, what I might call in Hebrew Hashem, is that greater than ourselves. And our belief in that, or my belief in that, has given me a lot of hope. It's given me a lot of hope in my life because it's giving me something to understand that this is not all there is, that my circumstances are not all that there is, that if my circumstances are given to me, or that I was born into, or that I have no control over, I have hope that in some instances those are going to work out in a way, as long as I'm grounded in my intentions are good, that those will turn out in a right way for me. And hopefully that will have a trickle effect on my family and those who I love and those who I communicate with or I meet, or maybe who I connect with on my CoachMD site. So it's given me a lot of hope. And what it's also grounded me in is faith, is that belief that something larger than myself is also not only beholden to me, but if God is in everyone, in my feeling, or God is in no one. So to believe in a larger entity greater than ourselves, we must believe that this greater entity does not discriminate among humans. If we believe that God is, or that there is something larger than ourselves, we must believe that God is in everyone or God is in no one. As I drive on this road and I'm surrounded by cars all around me, and each of those cars have at least one person in them, then that person is connected in some way to a larger universe, and that larger universe in the interconnections is that larger divine being. And that's my belief. And that gives me faith. So as I started this discussion of hope, faith, and love, well, that faith in something larger than myself gives me the understanding and the power to live my life in a way that is consistent with what I believe that power is, and that is to be able to understand that it's not all about me. And if you look around and there are so many different ways that people could look at that. A lot of people look at people with faith and they feel that they're somehow don't want to share that faith, or it only belongs to them. And if those who don't believe in that particular version of their faith are somehow lesser than them. But the people I surround myself with are not people like that at all. Or the people who I envision or who I watch in a larger, whether it's on media, television, whatever, those people who I tend to focus on or are drawn to are those people whose faith makes them somehow different in a good way. So for instance, if you're watching, let's say you're watching college sports, or in the United States, or professional sports, those participants, those athletes who have faith, and many of them are those of the Christian faith, there's something different about them. There's something bigger about them. There's something that they espouse to, which is larger than just themselves. They're not beating on their chest when they do something good. They're not saying it's all about me. They're pointing to God, to a higher source, something that humbles them. And so whether your circumstances are grand or whether they're low, having that faith allows you, if let's say you're a very successful, you're a successful athlete, or you're successful financially, that faith will humble you, will keep you grounded, and not make you feel as though you're larger or better than somebody else. And if your circumstances are such that you're financially impoverished, or you're physically in a physical state that's not strong, that's ill perhaps, that faith will give you hope. So in all respects, that faith will ground you in a sense of grandeur, that there's something larger than your current circumstances. So we started out talking about hope, we got the faith, and now I talk about love. And what is that love? Well, is that love like the 60s love, where we're all free love and carousing around? Well, love doesn't necessarily mean sex, okay? That's a topic for a whole other discussion, all right? So when we talk about love and free love, it doesn't mean that we carouse around having multiple sexual partners and sharing that love like the flower power of the 60s. No, love first starts with a self-love. And that's not a love, well, let me back up for a second. When I say self-love, that's love and respect for the divinity in all of us. And as I said, God is in everyone, or God is in no one. And what we love about ourselves are those gifts, talents, skills, abilities that are in all of us, that we have at least one or two or three maybe. And that love is a recognition, that self-love is a recognition of those God-given gifts, talents, skills. And having self-love is not being selfish, it's being self-interested. It's not being narcissistic, because being narcissistic is using whatever we have to take advantage of another person. That self-love is in order for us to connect with the divinity in all of us. And to have that love is to be able to express a deeper sense of connection with one another, a connection with the universe, a connection with our higher power, our creator, God, if you want to call your creator God, as I do. So, or Hashem in the Hebrew. Well, that is something that is important to understand, because that will help all the other aspects of whether it's hope, faith, and love. But that self-love all starts with a belief. And you must believe first. And it's very simple. Just simply believing gives you such power to process the to tap in to that divinity in you. So to believe that there's something greater than yourself will not only generate hope and ground you in faith, but it will allow you to do one other thing that I can guarantee you, and I'm going to be very bold, and I'm going to guarantee you that just by believing, it will allow you to trust, or I should say that not always, but if you allow that your belief to allow you to trust in the fact that you are a child of something much greater than yourself, and that entity that is greater than yourself, again, which I say is God in you, and for you to trust that, I promise you, that will start turning your life around in a way that you can't explain and that you're going to be forever grateful. I grant you that promise. And I don't throw these things around, these words around, because I know that words have power and words have influence. And I do not ever want to take advantage of that to manipulate or to give people false hope. But I know in my life and what I've observed in my experience, both personally and professionally, that when you, let's say, give it up to God, as people say, or trust, really trust, your life will turn around in a way that is right for you. Now, it may not be what you think is right for you, but when your intentions are pure and when you are grounded in this type of faith, you will see that your life will turn around in a way that is exactly right for you and will have a trickle effect on those around you. And I'd like to scream this from a high, because I know, again, from what I've observed in my own life, in my professional and personal, and what I've observed in the world, that those who are grounded in a true faith, in a true belief in something greater than themselves, in the divinity that is in all of us, when you truly believe in that, and then you put it into action by trusting in it, the wheels will start turning in a way that is right for you and those around you and those you love, and maybe those who you don't even know yet. So that's my message today: hope, faith, and love. And I hope that somehow that will help you in your life, and you can share with me and others how it is affecting you positively, and sharing your faith. And those of you who don't, who are digging their heels in and are devout atheists, let's say, I love, that's okay for you. You could still watch, tune into CoachMD. It's okay. I want you to know, though, I want you to ask your question. We all have our bias, and we all dig our heels into our belief systems. And those belief systems which tell you that you can't, that you mustn't, that it'll shake your world if you somehow start to consider that there's something greater than our five senses, and that there's greater than what we can, our five senses, what we can sense around us. Don't be threatened by knowledge or the truth. And it's very hard for all of us because we are all biased, and it's hard. But anyway, that's kind of going off on a little tangent. I've hoped that this discussion will somehow inspire you to share your belief and your faith, your hope, faith, and love with others, and will make your day and the rest of your week going just as it should be. So until next time, Dr. Charles, aka CoachMD, tuning in and getting back to my morning drive. I love you, and thank you so much for taking the time to listen to what I have to say, and hoping that it does bring you some value. So until next time, God bless. Be well, healthy in mind, body, and spirit. Take care. Bye for now.